Mirror, Mirror is a spin on the classic Snow White tale in which an evil queen steals control of a kingdom and an exiled princess enlists the help of 7 resourceful rebels to win back her birthright.
Once upon a time, in an enchanted kingdom, there was a beautiful princess. With skin as white as snow and hair as black as night.
Blah, blah, blah. Her hair is not black, it's raven, and she's 18 years old, and her skin has never seen the sun, so of course it's good.
I was kind of dreading seeing Mirror, Mirror, well, as much as you can dread seeing an hour and 45-minute long children's movie on your own free will, because the trailers looked just not good. It didn't look like anything I was interested in, and I just didn't really want to see it, but I wanted to review it, of course, so I had to see it. I couldn't get anyone to go with me, so I went to see it alone at midnight, and I was pleasantly surprised. It started off a little bit too sarcastic, and I will get into details on that, but once it kind of gets into its stride, it ended up being charming. And I think that's due mostly to the acting, because it almost felt like, bear with me here, the actors got together and said, hey, let's put on some costumes and put on a show for the kids. It kind of felt like that in the best way possible. To say it felt like children's theater is not what I mean, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. So plot-wise, like I said, I thought it started out a little bit rough to the point where I was like rolling my eyes within a minute of it beginning, and I was like, oh, here we go. But it did take a bit to get into its stride, and once it did, I started to enjoy it, and I was kind of surprised. I was like, am I chuckling? I am chuckling. Did I just laugh? I laughed. And I really did. I had a couple of laughs throughout, and I was definitely chuckling, giggling, whatever you want to call it, all the way throughout the whole thing. And I had to imagine, you know, a theater full of kids, because I saw it at midnight. I actually think it would be fun to see with a theater full of kids. I think that kids would be laughing a lot throughout this movie, and really, I guess that's the point. So, there you go. I think it worked on that front. Now, the reason the beginning didn't work for me, and by beginning I mean probably maybe the first 20 minutes or so, I think it felt like it was forcing sort of a sarcasm and a wit that maybe you could use Shrek as an example, where it kind of pokes fun at its own fairy tales. This sort of started out that way, and literally within the first minute or so, there's a sarcastic, you know, for example, the queen is talking about Snow White being born, and it's like they named her Snow White, which is such a pretentious name, am I right? It was something along those lines, and I was just like, here we go. I'm not gonna like this. But luckily that died off, and I didn't think it was working very well. It felt forced, whereas Shrek feels natural, this felt forced. And it just kind of stopped, actually, after 20 or so minutes, and that was great. I'm really glad it did. There were a couple other moments throughout the movie where it was trying to be offbeat and irreverent. It was like, look at us, we're different. But it wasn't as bad, and I had already started to be charmed by the movie, so I was able to look past those things. Directing-wise and visually, I thought the film, like I said, was very well done after a while. Like, the beginning wasn't, but it ended up becoming very enjoyable. I really, really did enjoy it as a children's movie, keeping that in mind, of course. But I have to say that I think the costumes specifically were great. They were very interesting, such as at the ball, like towards the beginning, I guess, or in the first third or so of the movie. The costumes were really cool, and I don't usually notice that or point that out, but I was watching and I was like, you know what? I'm really digging the costumes. They don't feel like they're too much. They feel appropriate. And I liked them. I thought they were cool, and I think they were worth mentioning. There were some effects in the movie that I thought were good enough for what the movie was worth. You know, fantasy-ish, I guess. Nothing realistic or believable, but they didn't need to be, and it wasn't trying to be that. But I have to specifically point out this one part. There's like these wooden puppets. You know, those ones in an art class where you pose them and then you draw them. They are fighting the dwarves at one point, and I mean, I thought they were cool. Like, I thought they looked really good. The way they were put into the scene, the effect was pretty good, but I thought they were actually really creepy, too. There's one that had, like, a face on it because somebody threw, like, a tomato at it, or 2 tomatoes, and it made eyes and, like, something else smeared a mouth, and it just... it was eerie, really eerie, so I don't know, I just feel like I needed to mention that. And finally, the acting. Like I said, it felt like the actors literally met up somewhere, saw some costumes on the ground and said, hey, let's put on a show for the kids. They will love it. Gather around, kids, and we'll show you a cool Snow White story. And it really did feel like that. And I thought overall everyone did a great job, but Snow White, Lily Collins, was adorable. Adorable. Almost to the point where it was distracting. I was just watching and I was like, Snow White. Maybe that's the point. But really, I thought she did a great job. Also, Armie Hammer, I don't really know how I feel about him. I feel like he tries too hard sometimes, but more so just in reality, not in his acting. I think he's much more natural acting than he is in real life, like on talk shows and stuff. So I thought that he was really good in the movie. I actually was surprised because I recently saw him on a talk show talking about the movie, and it just, I don't know, rubbed me the wrong way a little bit, but I thought he did a very good job. Nathan Lane did good. At first I was thinking, Nathan Lane, man, you kind of just get these roles now where you're just like the weirdo side character, but I thought he actually ended up doing a good job, and he had some pretty funny jokes, so good for him. Julia Roberts was good. I mean, it's Julia Roberts. She's great. She always is great. But I thought she was good in the movie. She definitely wasn't the main, draw for me. And the dwarves, I thought were great. I thought that all of them had their different personalities and stuff, although they had different names. I don't really know how that works out. I don't know if there's like an original story that had these names maybe, but like I said, I thought they all had their own characteristics, and I thought they did a very good job. But I have to go back to my favorite. Honestly, I was distracted. Lily Collins. That's all I have to say. She was great. And overall, obviously, I really did enjoy this movie. Once again, keeping in mind that it's a children's movie, and I think that kids are going to love it. I think they'll have a lot of fun with it. And parents, the important thing here that I thought of during the movie is that parents won't be rolling their eyes the whole time, and that's important in a kids' movie. You want the kids to be entertained, but the parents not pulling their hair out, So I think the movie succeeded overall. Like I said, it took a little while to get its stride, but once it did, I was thoroughly charmed, and I just really enjoyed it. So let me know in the comments what you thought of Mirror, Mirror. What did you expect going in? I was expecting garbage going in, to be honest with you, and maybe that's another reason why I liked it so much, because I had such low expectations, and it was good. Maybe that's another reason I liked it, but let me know what you were thinking going in. Let me know what you thought of it overall. Let me know what you thought of Lily Collins as Snow White. Were you in a trance like me? Let me know what you thought of those stinking wooden dolls. Did you think they were creepy, or am I just nuts? Let me know anything you want about Mirror, Mirror, and that's pretty much it.
Anyone know how to break a spell?
Say hello to my little friend.
Yeah!